Welcome to the 31st episode of Skyrim Cut Content. In today's episode, we'll be looking at an NPC that was meant to appear as a Jarl, not once, but twice. But before we start with all of that, let's test your knowledge of Skyrim's Jarls. Can you name all the Jarls on your screen? If you can, good. If you can't, fine by me. What I was wondering is if you would spot that one Jarl is absent. Yeah, that's right, Jarl Idgrod Ravencrone of Mortal isn't on the screen. Instead, I've put up Thane Bryling of Solitude. It should be clear as to why I've done this. There are a couple of hints that Bryling was at one point meant to be the Jarl of Mortal instead. First off is a very subtle hint when looking at them both. Bryling wears a fur-trimmed cloak with pleated shoes and fine arm guards. This is a Jarl's outfit, while of course, Bryling isn't a Jarl in the final game. Talking about outfits though, have you noticed that Jarl Idgrod doesn't wear a circlet while Bryling does? Well, this has a very simple explanation. Every person that starts the game out as a Jarl has a unique variant of the Jarl outfit assigned to them. These outfits are usually named Jarl outfit followed by their name. So it's only logical that everyone here has that distinction, right? Well, Ulfric has a unique variant, but without taking him into account, everyone does have their outfit set up correctly. Everyone except Idgrod. Idgrod wears an outfit known as Jarl Clothes Outfit 02. To my knowledge, these outfits were used to test how the generic Jarl clothes looked on NPCs. The 01 variant is used on a test NPC for example, while the 03 variant goes completely unused. It is for this reason that Idgrod doesn't have a circlet. She doesn't have her own custom variant of this outfit, she just uses a generic one. Bryling on the other hand, does wear an outfit known as Jarl Outfit Bryling. This is one of the main reasons I believe that Bryling was at one point the initial Jarl of Mortal. The other reason lies in Stonehills. This might be something that the majority of players don't know, but Stonehills, the only other settlement in Jarlmarch besides the capital Mortal, is actually owned by thane Bryling of Solitude in the final game. I gotta give credit where credit is due, it's nice to see that her wealth actually comes from somewhere. But I highly suspect that Bryling was always meant to own the mine, even if she wasn't a thane. Think about it, a Jarl owning a local mine would make sense, right? The supposed mine boss, Gester Rockbreaker, will mention Bryling in dialogue a couple of times.
Let's make sure we're just as productive this month as we were last. If Bryling's happy, we're happy.
Yes, sir, of course.
All right. Keep up the good work.
If you're here about the mine, it's already got an owner and she's not selling. If not, then please stay out of my workers' way. Bryling owns this mine. I wouldn't have much to live for if she hadn't offered me a job.
This is interesting because Bethesda later tried retconning Gester by implementing Pector and Sorley the Builder. These NPCs were added to Stonehills at a later date, but that's a whole other video in itself. Just know that Pector basically got Gester's role in the final game, despite Gester actually just keeping his role in dialogue. Pector also offers you a quest where you are tasked with taking a message to Bryling in Solitude. Take a listen to his dialogue.
No, and before you ask, it's not for sale. I'm just protecting Bryling's investment. She's the owner, even though we're the ones here doing all the work. She's already come down hard on us for missing shipments. Likely to do it again, since we're late. Can't do that and keep an eye on things here at the same time. But you could take word to her in Solitude. Let her know it'll be coming soon. I'd make it worth your while. No one would notice a few missing ingots out of the next shipment. You're doing me quite a favor. I won't forget it. I'm sure she'll be angry. Brace yourself.
Two things to note here. 1. This is the only time where it's ever explicitly mentioned that Bryling lives in Solitude. And 2. He mentions Bryling is gonna be angry as she has been in the past. Well, let's see how angry Bryling really is, huh?
Thane Bryling, at your service. Is everything all right? I've not heard from Sorley or Pactor in some time. That's good news. I was starting to fear something had happened. You have my thanks. It's been an honor.
As you may have noticed, she totally isn't. This is what some might consider a bad narrative. I, however, lean more towards the theory that they just lazily reused Bryling's dialogue, made some new lines for Pector, but didn't bother checking if those lines were matching with what Bryling actually says. Reusing or repurposing dialogue seems to be a trend with Bryling's character, although I can't really confirm that. For example, Sorley the Builder becomes the Stormcloak aligned Jarl if Idgrod is ousted. Guess what voice type Sorley uses? Exactly, the same one as Bryling, female commander. This implies to me that there's a very real chance that Bethesda already had some lines recorded for Bryling, decided to create a character with the same voice type, and just reuse those lines for that character. I mean, take a listen.
So Alva did get it to Hrogar for herself. I should have suspected her. By the gods. I assume you have proof. Then stop wasting my time. By Ysgramor's axe, it's true. Morthal owes you a debt. Unfortunately, Morthal is still in danger. The journal mentions Movarth, a powerful master vampire that I had assumed was destroyed.
These could have been intended for Bryling, right? The lines that she uses as greetings and goodbyes in the final game are also very vague and nondescript. They could have also belonged to her Jarl persona, especially this one.
This god-forsaken war is dividing our people and destroying our land. Many condemn the Stormcloaks, but I refuse. There is honor in fighting for what you believe. It's been an honor. I'll get back to court business then. I can always find time to share a word with a warrior.
There are also some scenes between Bryling and Ernskar Ironhand that sound a lot like a housecarl talking to their Jarl.
What news have you heard from the war, Ernskar?
You won't like it, my lady.
I'm well aware that I won't like it, but it's my duty to keep my people safe. Tell me.
Possession of the holds change on an almost daily basis, but I can report that Hafengar is still secure. Your people are safe.
I'm not just talking about my subjects. I'm talking about my people, the proud Nords of Skyrim.
I told you you wouldn't like the news. My lady, I'm pleased to inform you that you have a new gown for court, specially tailored by Madame Indari.
Really? How did we afford that? Besides, I like the gown I already have.
Madame Indari insisted. She made it free of charge, in honor of your lenience about last month's rent discrepancies.
That was suspiciously nice of her. I thought she hated everyone.
She does, my lady. But apparently she hates you just a little less than the others.
Now, I do feel the need to say this, but besides the very convincing circumstantial evidence, there's nothing really confirming that Bryling was meant to be the Jarl of Morthal. That isn't the case with Solitude, however. Yes, Bryling was once also meant to appear as the Yarl of Solitude. How or why would this happen? I honestly don't have a clue. In episode 25 I've also covered Solitude's Jarl replacement, but it looks like it was always intended for thane Erikr to become the Jarl. Maybe Bryling was also considered to be a replacement, but if that was the case then she was quickly scrapped as a candidate, because there are basically no leftovers of this. On the topic of leftovers though, if you've wondered about the claim of Bryling being a Jarl in general, then I will gladly let you know that she's actually a potential member of the Job Jarl faction. More importantly though is that she's also a member of the Favor 252 Questgiver faction. Favor 252 is actually Thane of Hafengar, the quest to do favors in the hold in order to become the Thane of Solitude. The only other member of this faction is Jarl Elisif, who would normally give this quest. All of her dialogue is also present in Bryling's voice type, confirming that her being the Jarl of Solitude at least got some effort put into it.
Good luck to you. Very well. There is room in my court for a new thane. It's an honorary title mainly, but there are a few perks someone like you could make use of. However, I could only grant the title to someone who is known throughout my hold. You help my people, and I'll make you my thane. Then by my right as Jarl, I name you Thane of Hafengar. Congratulations. I grant you a personal housecarl to watch over your home, and this weapon from my armory to serve as your badge of office. I'll also notify my guards of your new title. Wouldn't want them to think you're part of the common rabble now.
I would say that's where it ends, but I feel like we never really got anywhere. Well, that's because that's just how Bethesda left this content in. We have no real context here, it's just, hey, this person was meant to be the Yarl of Solitude and probably the Yarl of Morthal at one point as well. There's also something that I might not have mentioned in episode 25, and that's Gisli's unused dialogue. Gisli is Erikir's sister, and she's a potential member of the Job Steward faction. Some generic steward dialogue is present in her voice type.
The Jarl has put out a bounty on the dragon that's been terrorizing the countryside. Here, take a look at this decree for details. The Jarl has put out a bounty on some bandits. Here, take a look at this decree for details. The Jarl has put out a bounty on Forsworn. Here, take a look at this decree for details. The Jarl has put out a bounty to slay a giant. Here, take a look at this decree for details.
So she was definitely meant to have that role at one point, but under who would she serve? Elisif? Bryling? Ericur? I guess the latter makes the most sense, but there's basically nothing connecting the two other than the yeah, that makes sense way of thinking. And with that, we've basically come to a dead end. Bryling was once meant to be a Jarl. Gisli was once meant to be a steward, but there isn't enough data left to determine in what context these roles exactly would have taken place. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode and let me know what you think of all of this in the comments below, as well as any topic suggestions. I'll see you all in the next episode.